with Nico Williams. That's right, it's your boy! Coming at you on a Thursday as I always love to do, because Thursday's my favorite day of the week. Why? Well, I was born on a Thursday, 11:47 a.m. Woo! It's New Year's Eve, baby! We going into 2021! But before I get into this show, I need I gotta go into some sad news that just happened. I was finalizing the script for today's show, as you know, today was going to be the 2020 recap about myself and just 2020 recap in general. What happened this year? Let's run over it as we try to move on and try and get better. It was then brought to my attention on Twitter that MF Doom, Metal Face Doom, passed away here on December 31st. Now this, I'll just read it to you. His wife, Jasmine, posted this on Instagram from his family. From Dumile, to Dumile. Begin all things by giving thanks to the all. To Dumile. The greatest husband, father, teacher, student, business partner, lover, and friend I could ever ask for. Thank you for all the things you have shown, taught, and given to me, our children, and our family. Thank you for teaching me how to forgive beings and give another chance, not to be so quick to judge and write off. Thank you for showing how to not be afraid to love, be the best person I could ever be. My world will never be the same without you. Words will never express what you and Malachi mean to me. I love both and adore you always. May the all continue to bless you, our family, and the planet. All my love, Jasmine. And then it says transitioned October 31st, 2020. Now, when it says transition, I'm not sure if it's saying that's the day that he passed away and they just wanted to tell us on this day that that's when MF Doom passed, or if I looked it up. Some say transition can mean go into hospice on October 31st, 2020. Going into hospice is you have a very limited time to live, and you stay in a place with this limited time to live. I'm not sure if that's what she means by transition, or if she means transition and they just not I'm not. What we do know is this. What I am sure of is this: is that MF Doom has passed away. Now, I say now, I done talked to some of my homies, and I done talked to some folk that I've known over the years. Not everybody knew MF Doom, but MF Doom had a very big following. And I gotta say, I was a huge fan. I left this part out. He passed away at the age of 49. MF Doom been around for a while, a long time. He been around for a long time. I believe his career, in a sense, got started in '88. He's from the United Kingdom. He's from the UK. Transitioned over here to New York, and he's always been a citizen of the UK, or Great Britain, if you will, however you want to do it. Read up on Wikipedia about that. I just want to go into my feelings. Now, I hear things and see things differently than most people do. And I know that when it comes to music, I'm a huge fan of how it sounds as a collective. And MF Doom had a way, because let's not forget, his music, he used a lot of samples to create his albums, his EPs, the mixtapes, anything like that. he used samples a lot. And me being an old soul, you know, I felt that. That's in a sense, you know, I'm not liking Kanye to MF Doom. I'm not liking MF Doom to Kanye. I'm just saying that's what drew me to Kanye, was that he used a lot of like soul samples, right? And I was drawn to him like, hey, he's super lyrical. Super lyrical. You have to be in a space and to be able to listen. And I'm not saying like on this like direct day that anytime you listen to him, you just need to know. Let me gather my thoughts. I'm sorry. I feel like you're either in a space to hear what he's saying, or you just kind of just are that kind of person. You just hear music in that way. I heard music in that way. So I can hear the lyrics as well as I can hear every boom, boom, bap, every chord, everything. That's how I look at music. That's how I saw MF Doom. And when I listened to him, it just sounded good. It didn't matter if I could sing his songs word for word. It was more or less, I just liked what I heard. And I liked it a lot. It sounded so good. One of my favorite, I got a lot of favorite songs. Like Gas Draws, One Beer. I mean, he used samples so much. He even sampled Anita Baker. With all my heart, I love you, baby. Stay with me. Look, is this love? Is this love? Y'all know the song. Anita Baker, you know she all that in the bag of chips, okay? He just used so many great samples, and I'm saddened by the loss because it goes deeper than just the music. I gotta say, this episode here, this is for the weird kids, okay? This is for the weird. This is for the kids that play Yu-Gi-Oh. This is for the white kids that think they can rap. This is for the black kids that enjoy anime. You know what I'm saying? That's what MF Doom stood for. And you know, and my brother Craig, Olympus Mons, y'all know him. I mention him all the time. You're gonna see a lot more of him here in 2021. We'll talk about that later. But that's what he was. He showed it. Like, I don't know anything about his personality other than what I saw on stage. I don't know. I didn't watch any interviews or anything like that. Listening to his music just put me in a space where I felt very comfortable to be in. It was different. And like I said, I talked to a lot of my homies, and you know, a lot of them don't know him like that, or they won't sing them word for word. But when me and Olympus Mons, when me and Craig would pull up MF Doom on the iPod, when we put it on the aux cord, when we throw in the CD, when we put it on Spotify, I mean, this dude spans years when it comes to us listening. And he just made it cool to be yourself. He didn't say, you know, this is what it is to be cool. He just made it cool to be yourself. And that's, you know, he would like if you know Earl Sweatshirt, if you know Tyler the Creator, he's a huge influence on them. It's just, I just really enjoyed him and who he was and what he was as an artist. And I hate that we lost him. And you know, the thing is, he wasn't super duper mainstream, which tends to make us, in a sense, put him on the back burner a lot of times, like take him for granted. And here it is. He's going, you know, if you're watching Adult Swim every now and then, even throughout the years, an MF Doom song or Mad Villain or something like that was like 100% one of the bumps in between like commercials in the show. On, you know, you watch 13 minutes of the show, and then they play that smooth ass music that they play on Adult Swim. A lot of that was MF Doom and some of his production, and that was a dope part about him too, is that his production, that was him, that was his idea, and he took all these old soulful like ideals and he made beautiful music. And the thing is, it wasn't mainstream. He didn't make it for that. He made it for that basement party that had 50 people maybe in the basement. Now y'all know y'all ain't had no business being in that basement while all y'all in there. He made it for those type of crowds. He made it for those venues that could only put 250 people. He made it for the Egyptian ballroom, if you will, where you fill that up. That's in Indianapolis at the Murat. He built it. He made his music, and it wasn't about selling out stadiums for him. It was about selling out venues, standing room only, and everybody knew his music. They knew him. They were really his fans. Isn't that what you want to do it for? Your fans? And man, he just made it cool to quote unquote not be cool. And I don't even think he did it on purpose. Like, it's just that the quote unquote not so cool kids, they hung on to it. And it just is what it is. And he was always himself. And that's what we'll most enjoy about him is that's what you want from artists and things like that. What they inspire within you. And do they have that power? And that's what MF Doom did. He inspired people to be what they truly are. I honestly don't know his background super heavy like that. I just enjoy the music. But his music put me in a space where I can lay down a trap card right now and send all y'all to the shadow realm. That's where I was at with MF Doom. That's what I most enjoy about MF Doom. And I hate that we lost him. It's like on the last day of 2020, this hits us. I'm gonna circle back around to this, but let's get into 2020 was a hell of a year, man. Whether that's from an individual standpoint, or if that's from, a community standpoint, but it's just 2020 was weird. It was crazy. So let's go over it. So I'm gonna go about it from a global standpoint, but I'm gonna go about it about what I personally went through during this pandemic, during 2020, and what it was. So, January started off, it was what it was. It was just January, and we were just doing what we do. We were just working, going to work, partying good, doing what we do. And then on January 27th, it was brought to our attention that Kobe Bryant had passed away tragically. I mean, tragically. And what hurt the most about that was Kobe and his image had built itself up to where you felt like nothing could ever happen to Kobe Bryant. But not only did something happen to him, it was tragic. I'm talking to you, Fate. It was barbaric. It was terrible. It's an awful way to go. I look at Kobe when, I'm sitting there old and my, older in my life, and I'm imagining seeing Kobe news about him passing away, that he died peacefully with his family, and he had been sick for a little bit, or he passed away peacefully in his own home in Newport News, or in Newport, California. That shook me, man. That shook me heavily, because we found a human being that just didn't seem like he was a human being. He was different. He was different than anything we'd ever seen. And he inspired. And the greatest part about, I love his basketball career. When you look at it and you look at what he did to force himself to push himself to that level, to be a champion, and what drove him, what made him want to be the greatest. Like, that was beautiful. That was art in itself. But it's what he did after his basketball career that really started to move me more than he had already moved me. That will to win and all that, oh my God, you can't forget about it. Love it. But after he retired, he refused to just walk off into the sunset, show up on NBA TV every now and then and do an interview. He refused to do that. He kept on giving. Even after Most people, they play basketball and that's all they can give. Not Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant continued to give to the world. He gave us Muse. If you see on my Twitter, I have Muse as my name. That's not my name. You know what I'm saying? Muse and Obsession. And he said a muse is whatever drives you to be great. A muse is what pushes you to be the best version of yourself that it can be. And it can take the shape and the form of a lot of different things. And Kobe just, he helped me try and figure that out and manifest it. Sometimes it came in the form of a person. And then a lot of times it came in the form of just, for me, to see a future where everybody can come together and not see differences. Nobody just wants to be just better than other people and all that. It's just, what drove me was to find a place where people can come in this world and know they have a fair share in life. They have a fair shake in life. And it's not because of how they came into this world. It's what they become and what you do to form your future. Not because of any unfair disadvantages of, oh, I was born poor, or I was born ugly, or I was born a certain color, or anything like that. It was, everybody has a fair chance at life. And that's the thing that drives me. That's my muse. And I have an obsession with that, of making a world that everyone can live in, man. We'll talk about that another day. I'll get into Muse another day. It'll be called Muse. I'll dedicate it to that. I'm gonna move on, but I'm just saying, we lost Kobe Bryant. And then after that, we would go on to have COVID, and COVID would be a big part of our 2020. Now, a huge part of COVID, it made everybody have to go home. Everybody had to lock down. Everybody had quarantine. So for a moment there, the world stood still. But there was still some activity in Minnesota, where we lost George Floyd. And for a moment there, the world had stopped long enough because you couldn't, everybody's at home. And the video goes viral of a black man being, in a sense, we watched the black man die in front of our eyes. We watched every moment of it. From the moment that he started to beg for his life, all the way to his last breath, we watched that. The whole world watched it because we were at a standstill. And for a moment there, people had to actually look and say, wow, that's what's been going on? So George Floyd happened. And then Ahmaud Arbery, his happened in February, but the footage didn't come out till later. Breonna Taylor, just so many black people being killed or mistreated by the police. And then the protests. We went through a lot of our year protesting. Shout out to Portland, to the people in Oregon. They protested for a very long time. Shout out to California. They protested for a very long time. But people's true colors came out as well. People that thought that just, I saw a few videos where, a white person was like, hey, man, Black Lives Matter. And then white people ride past them and say, hey, but you don't care about us? That's racist. That's racist. You just care about black lives? What about our lives? No. And then we went through a whole year. People not understanding the concept of that. If you want to have an episode on that, I can talk about that. But we're recapping here, okay? And so we had protests and we had to see the reality. And I'll tell you what, man, I was shook to see somebody that had the same color skin as me, looks like me in a sense, and was killed in that way. And I couldn't help but think that could happen to me. And I had to sit and think about, the higher ups and, at the places I've worked in the past. I'm like, do they think that way about me? Do they think that I'm less than them? Like, it just made me think everything. And I started to even come up with, in a sense, a hatred for them. Because I'm like, I don't trust y'all because I don't know if you think like them. I don't know. Can I trust you? So that was wild in itself. And then we get into the summer and we get a bit, in a sense, of normalcy. Big shout out to the NBA for coming up with the bubble. That was huge. It gave us a glimpse of what we were accustomed to, watching sports and doing things like that. And it took us away from what we were going through, which was staying in our houses all day long, all day, every day. And we got back to, in a sense, just feeling like things were, in a sense, back to normal. We knew they weren't, but just for like 2.5 hours, we felt like they were. And then in Milwaukee, Milwaukee had a situation. The Bucks, they decided not to play that game. In the bubble, it was a playoff game, and it reminded us that, hey, we're not done doing what we're doing. But man, shout out to the bubble, and that helped us, especially in the summer. We got the Lakers. The Lakers gave us a championship out of that bubble, and it gave a guideline of how we are supposed to proceed. Stimulus checks were a thing in 2020. At this point, as of today, people are starting to get that $600, but we got $1,200 back in the spring. And I don't know if everybody's too happy about the $600, but people are taking that $600 and running with it. So it is what it is. But I think that $600, like for somebody within, in my financial situation, $600, cool, appreciate it. It's a gift. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? It's you put in on my rent, so I don't have to, like, in a sense, pay that much rent for 1 month. That's cool. But there's people out there that have been waiting for some kind of help since March. They got the $1,200 and that was it. So there's been a lot of restrictions. I'm sure you've seen that we haven't been able to eat everywhere that we want to. I mean, just 2020 just was a whole. 2020 was crazy, man. But I mean, in a sense, that's the recap. Baseball, the Dodgers won. That happened. I'm not sure who won hockey. I think Seattle Storm won the WNBA. So I mean, there's some cool sports stuff that happened. But let's talk about me for a second. And I love to talk about me. I learned a lot this year for 2020. I learned that mental health is a thing. I just have been a victim, and I'm a victim myself. I did it to myself. I just thought that a nice, good Goku speech would just get me through anything. Just like I thought that would get a lot of other people that I've run across it would just sink in, and that would help them. And we learned that that's toxic positivity. People are allowed to feel the way that they feel. And it's up to them to deal with it how they deal with it. You can give advice, and if they don't go with it, or if it doesn't take, that's not your fault. People just deal with things differently. And that's something that I had to learn this year. And I started having some anxiety attacks. My first one, it happened when I was in Illinois, traveling with my grandparents, my girlfriend at the time, my mother. I had an anxiety attack. I thought that was just one thing, and then I started to have them more frequently. So it caused for me to look into it. So that's something that I had to deal with in 2020. 2020, the theme for me was me. My grandpa always tells me, you can't help nobody if you can't help yourself. And that sticks with me. And I found myself in a situation where I'm over here trying to help people get out of their situations and help them, give them advice. And I just didn't have the right words to say. I didn't. And it resonates with me so tough because I'm like, people just come from such, like, I didn't have a bad life. I didn't have a bad childhood. But there are people in life that have gone through some bad things. And I thought that the answer was to just push it behind you and just fight through it and you'll be okay. That's not the case for everybody. Not everybody is built the same. And the thing is, it's not for us to try to understand. It's for us to respect it. And I think I lost somebody very important to me because of that. Because I didn't take the time to understand. I thought I could just give a rousing speech and that would just make everything okay. And that doesn't work, because during one of my anxiety attacks, I tried to give myself a rousing speech and it did not work. I still felt how I felt. And I'm glad I went through that. I'm glad I went through that vulnerability so I could see. But we can talk about that on another level, but we'll just talk about the growth at this point. From a finance situation, I mean, I had to dig deep. I had to find some extra resources. Shout out to Good Credit. Man, finance was crazy. Like, I can't get into the specifics of my job, but it just wasn't as sweet as it could have been. It wasn't as sweet as things would have been had, the COVID not hit. So financially I had to dig different places and try and keep myself afloat to continue to do all the things that I love to do. And it took a lot of self-discipline, and sometimes I failed on that. Sometimes I had to drop that bread on some Hennessy and have a good time. That's happened because the pandemic put me in a situation where I was bored. I was just bored, and I was like, I'm so used to just, I could go to work or something and, kind of laugh and giggle a little bit, or I could go to a bar and flirt all I want to. But with the pandemic, that put a halt to that. And so that was different, the social aspect of things. I am a social person, although the alone time that was needed. I needed that. But yeah, that was rough. And then the social circle that I kind of, in a sense, was putting around me, it wasn't the best situation. Speaking of which, romance this year. Oh my God. This is what I found out about myself as far as romance goes. I am not a good side nigga. I'm not. Because I feel like if I'm in a situation with somebody, like, they say people that you, I feel like this. If you lay with somebody, you okay with everything that come with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have baby or something like that. I like you enough that I lay on top of you. Boom. It's cool. Whatever happens. That's cool. That's how I approach romance. Is in that way. Like, okay, cool. This is somebody I can, okay, we can build something. It's all right. But, it's a lot of broken promises with that. Like, I don't know. I really don't want to get too much into it, but I'm just going with this. I'm not good at being a side piece. I'm really not. Because I feel like if I crossed the line and went there with you in that way, I'm like, maybe I can, if you're gonna go there with me, maybe we can make something happen. But one of my OGs told me, they said, do you believe in losing somebody in the way that you got them? And that was my arrogance. I think it was my arrogance, my hubris, if you will. Me thinking like, nah, she doing what she do because I'm that guy who wouldn't want to be with me. And that wasn't the case. And so definitely 2021, we're going to come in there with a different mentality. Hey, you got a man, don't fool with me. Okay. And it'd be nice if you say that up front. And then also, no, that's just where I'm at. Cause I'm not sharing nothing with nobody. Okay. Somebody turn on some Whitney Houston or something. I don't know. From a career standpoint, I was doing things, by myself. And then I got with Overall 99 ENT, who I am coming to you from on this on YouTube every Friday, and then you see all the other shows that we do. Shout out to us. Shout out to Overall 99 ENT, La Alpha, KCP, Kid Creative Player. Shout out to my homegirl Bree. We trying to build something, and I like where we're going. And I'm telling you like this, Austin, Texas, we on our way. Shout out to Gotti. I don't want you in 2021 with me. Get out my room. Thank you, sir. They're gonna be with me from 2000 to forever. Y'all already know how these dogs do. Y'all know Gotti and BG. But yeah, I just feel like this year is going to be my best year because I'm 100% focused. I have an anime arc going on in my life right now, and it's the redemption arc. It's not even so much. I'm in the training arc. That's where I'm at. I'm in the training arc, and then I'm gonna go against final bosses, which are big contracts, big money. I like it, all that. So that's where we're going in 2021. So things will be different. I believe it. Okay. Let's get it. Let me give up. Let's move on. Let's talk about something nice that happened tonight. Ball State Cardinals beat San Jose State in the Arizona Bowl today. Shout out to Chirp Chirp! Chirp Chirp! Shout out to Chirp Chirp Nation. We did that. And not only were they underdogs, they won by a whole lot, y'all. Look up the score. They won by a whole lot. So they weren't playing. I'm going to tell you like this here. Come on the 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Clemson will be playing against Ohio State. Ohio State is the underdog. Now, I put the bag on Ball State today, and I did a good job. I'm telling you, tomorrow, if you're listening today, take Ohio State versus Clemson. They are underdogs. Put the bag on Ohio State, and I'm going to show you something. Y'all going to go home. Y'all going to start the new year off with a dub, okay? A dub. Watch this. A lot of money. Put a bag on it. We put a bag on Ball State. Put a bag on Ohio State. I'm telling you like this. They want some get back against Clemson. I'm just telling you. And as you know, I end every episode like this. Now, ladies.
Sweetest thing, right? Yeah.
I don't got nothing for y'all today.
December 31st, start my year off with a gift or a curse. A kiss where it hurt, we was getting
It's not the time to think about that kind of stuff. I think 2021 is a restart. It's a restart. And let's wipe the slate and move forward. No bad vibes to anybody. None of that. Let's just move on and do the best that we can to be better than we were. But I know one thing we can do. And in my path to being better, Thinking that Boom said it best. There's only one bit left. Felt like it was meant to be, like I prayed for you. Let me show you what all that faith can do. You're simply amazing, boo. And I got plenty to prove, so why not wait? Y'all know the deal. Y'all can catch me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube every Friday. We coming harder than ever. Come 2021, we gotta make some ground up, okay? We took a lot of L's, but now it's all W's. We not playing. I'm just very excited. I'm excited to see everything that y'all do. I hope y'all resolutions come true. I hope this is the best year that y'all ever had. I gotta say, from overall 99 ENT to you and yours, Happy New Year. Much love. I holla. Happy New Year. That's the king that he's meant to be. You know what I mean?